Rory, go ahead.
You talked on arrival out here about your sort of dream of bringing the Ashes back home. That's not going to happen. At some point this week, you're going to see Pat Cummins and Steve Smith lifting it. I just wondered, it's happened before. What does that moment feel like, and is it the kind of thing that can light a fire under yourself and other players when you see the opposition lifting that?
Look, obviously the result this week isn't going to change what happens at the end of this game. But for us, this is a big game. Purely because we're walking out there representing England. The Ashes, unfortunately for us, hasn't gone the way we wanted it to. But yeah, we've got one more game in a big series, and it's a real big one for us. So although we can't get the thing that we came here for, we've still got a chance to go out there and win a game of cricket for England.
And seeing that moment of the rivals celebrate, is that a gut punch moment where you think could have been different?
Yep.
How does the way and the manner that the team end what has been a long and a difficult, taxing series, what does it tell you as a captain about your team, the way they conduct themselves and play their cricket this week? A lot. I think it's coming to the end of a long tour where the series is done and you got one game. It's one thing that you don't want to see, and I don't think I will, and I don't think it will happen, is just sort of coasting through this game and seeing what happens. This is a huge game for us, as I said at the start, because we're walking out there and playing for England. It's going to take all 11 of us to go out there and get on the right side of the result like we managed to do last week. Although we get to go home at in 8 or 9 days' time, any thought of that can wait till then. It's about what we do over the next 5 days. That's the most important thing, and putting absolutely everything that we can into the game and giving ourselves the best chance of winning the game. Would it be your hope that coming off a series that hasn't gone as you planned, that there'll be young players, older players, I don't know, players back in England, players with the Lions, who are looking now and thinking, I can do something, break into that team, be part of changing things? Do you want, as England captain, a ton of players banging down the door back home?
Yeah, absolutely. You want as many players as possible that you want to be able to choose from. We've got this Test match to worry about first, and then 5 to 6 months before we play our next series. So there's a lot of time to go after this game finishes, and then we get back to England, and there's a lot of time to think about things and put our heads together and come up with something that we think is going to get this team back on the direction that we were in 2 years ago. Results and the way in which we were playing so consistently in terms of getting on the right side of results, that's sort of gone downhill. Over the next couple of months, as I say, I'll be desperate to make sure that we try and give ourselves the best chance of, when we do come and face New Zealand in the summer, that we're giving ourselves the best chance of getting those results and being a very consistent team again.
And individually, like 4 years ago, Zach played innings here that sort of was a bit of a calling card for him, and last week in Melbourne, Josh Tongue did himself no harm at all. Is there a message that there's people who are going to play tomorrow, that there's quite a big personal thing to play for, which is that they need to show and they can take something out of a big Test match, big occasion, and bring something into that English summer with them?
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's there will be no there shouldn't be any reason for anyone to get individual or insular around what they need to do this week. It's all about the team. It always is about the team. As soon as anyone sort of starts thinking about their own performances and thinking about their own selves, I think it's quite easy to see through. And it's one thing that I feel like I've managed to get into this group is that everything that you do, say, think should always be directed about what's best for the team, not for yourself. Whoever goes out there this week, everything they do and all the decisions that they make will be aimed towards what the team is what the team needs.
Okay, we're going to go back left, Dan Cheney, then Cameron, and then Barrett. Go ahead, Dan.
Ben, Andrew McDonald, the Australian coach, said a few days ago that the difference between 3-2, 4-1, 5-0 in his mind was through the prism of World Test Championship points rather than the actual result in isolation. What's your view on that? And do these matches, are you cognizant of the WTC importance, or is that something that doesn't go through your mind at all?
Oh no, look, I totally get that. That regardless of what happens this week, Australia get to lift the urn and have won the Ashes. But yeah, for us, just every time you walk out and play for your country, regardless of the opposition, regardless of where a series is at, is just as important as if the series is at 2-2. Every game that I play a part of and every game that everyone else plays a part of, we go out there and play to win. Just so happens over the last couple of years, obviously the World Test Championships come into play, and winning or losing dictates how that table looks for you. So, look, the main thing for us is winning this game of cricket, and then if we do win it, we get a few World Test Championship points, I guess.
Cameron, go ahead.
Hi Ben. You and Brendan have always presented a kind of very united front. Just wondering, has the intensity of this tour kind of tested your relationship at all?
No, I don't think so. We've always been very, forth with each other. That's where the relationship that we've built, not only in a professional, capacity, works really well. Yes, we are, pretty good mates away from cricket as well now, but we are always have been two people who have always challenged each other, and that hasn't changed on this trip. We do discuss quite a lot about stuff behind the scenes, because without discussion I don't feel like you sort of get anywhere. So no, I wouldn't say that our relationship has been challenged really at all.
Barrett, go ahead.
Ben, before the series you said you didn't want whatever happened in the series to define your legacy as captain, but externally the English captains get judged on how Ashes tours go. So personally, what do you take away from this series on the front?
Again, like all that time, the time for all that kind of stuff isn't now. We've still got a big game to play, and as I said, we've got a big gap between our next Test series. So everything to do with the team going forward will be, we'll wait to do all that. But yeah, again, like all the legacy stuff on that, it's just all external. So.
In just as your third Ashes tour here, Ben, are you surprised with how Australia has probably become a country where batting is not on an average easy, like averages are dropping? And do you think you guys accounted for how difficult batting conditions will be, at least in 2 or 4 tests?
I think both, both batting lineups have found it, difficult to get any type of or any kind of fluency or rhythm out there in the middle. We've been exposed to completely different conditions to every ground that we've gone to, which, generally in Australia over my time, you can sort of, wherever you go, things sort of have tended to be quite similar. Yes, every ground have got their own sort of individual things that you can, associate with those grounds. I think, Adelaide, for example, that's always been like that. But yeah, some of the grounds have been slightly different. But I think the one thing you take away from the Australia team, is in particular, is their amazing execution with the ball that has put us under heaps of pressure. So yeah, look, you can look at the way that they've gone about it with the ball and go, yeah, there's a big difference between what Australia have been able to do with the ball compared to what we've been able to do with the ball, and we know that, we own that. We haven't been able to execute as well as we would have liked to, and as well as we know that we can do, which is disappointing and a bit of a shame. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go Simon in the middle and then Stefan next to him.
You have a mixture of experience and inexperience batting inside. Can you give us a little insight into what instruction, if any, is given to, say, an inexperienced player like Jacob Bessel or, say, Jamie Smith, when they go out to bat? Is there a sort of a message that is passed to them about the game situation or the bowlers that you might face, you know, just before they go out or at some point before they go out, or is it just left up to them to make their own mind up and decide how they're going to play?
I think the most important thing that we always try and do and make sure is that everyone's just got a very, very clear mind about going out there and you know, doing the job that's required of them in that moment. That will always, you know, change because of either the conditions that you go out there and play or the situation that the team finds themselves in there. And certain individuals will play different situations, you know, completely different, but as long as in their head they're very clear about what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve with that, that's the most important thing. And it doesn't always guarantee success, but as long as there's clarity in what they're trying to do, then, you know, you can back their skill to go out there and try and deliver that. You know, they're international players. They're all very skilled players and capable of, you know, playing in different ways and putting teams under pressure in their own ways. But yeah, making sure that everyone's very clear about what it is that is required of them right in that moment for the team is the most important thing for us, and then allowing their skill to go out there and do that for them.
Stefan?
Michael Vaughan said in the past that winning in Sydney in 2003 was like the first step on the road to winning the Ashes in 2005. How much can this be a catalyst for you guys to win the Ashes in 2027? And I don't know, do you already have in your own mind maybe what this team needs to do to be in the best shape for that series in 18 months' time?
As I said, that's so far away from where we are right now. Got a big test match to play here, and said we've got a big gap before our next series. So all that time for reflection on this tour right now isn't the time to do that. It'll be in between getting home and then June when we come up against our next series against New Zealand.